maybe we can make it here. Thank you, Joe. I'm very grateful to Mr. Boris who agreed to assist me, because sometimes I cannot hear properly, and maybe even I cannot understand some questions. So thank you very much. Yes, so now we improved our position, yeah? Oh yeah, thank you. Ah, this is the right place. Okay, so how we have we have Tony, this is my friend. Actually, Sadie, you know. My wife over there, very important person. Everything is under the control. So let's go ahead. So we have this small session, which is based on the idea that if you have some questions, please ask me, and I'll try to answer my broken English. So, probably this is the principal goal. If you have already prepared questions, please go ahead.
Do you have any feelings about the current World Championship in the state of affairs?
The current World Championship.
This is a good question because I am very experienced scandalist. So I can remind you that my experience based on the scandals with Victor Potstoy, 77, 78. By the way, the present scandal and the scandal which we had in Belgrade, 77, 78, somehow has almost the same basis. I also had not really scandal against Bobby Fischer, because Bobby Fischer and myself, we are like with Don Quixote, we had different windmills fighting against them. My windmills were Soviet Sport Committee, and Bobby had some honorable people like Chester Fox, yeah? With the cameras, yes, which made some sort of noise. So this is the second scandal. What else? Small underground scandal against Anatoly Karpov, 1974. But I couldn't fight because Karpov had a very powerful support from the Soviet state. I've never been a communist, unfortunately. It's much better to be a communist in a situation like that. So that's all my experience about scandals. Now, what we have at the moment, I'd like to tell you that before the match, very important to have an agreement between both sides. This agreement should be signed, somehow approved by some authorities, especially by organizing committee. I remember that in my match against Bobby Fischer, Reykjavik 72, every player, each of us, we had our separate room with monitor, we could watch the game, but I don't remember that we had a separate toilet. Yeah, this is a big problem. You know that toilet is the most important part of the match. I don't know how many times chess player needs a toilet. Nobody knows. But as for Vladimir Kravnik, probably the toilet room was very important, because toilet room is not under the control, under Watergate control. It's only place, and so this is the reason why he was so frequently in the toilet, because the restroom is under the control, and everything is videotaped somehow. Maybe that was the basis. Actually, I don't see the serious basis from the side, from Bulgarian side, because all these conditions were agreed before the match. There is an organizing committee and everything. I think that for Mr. Danailov, who is the chief of this delegation, for me, it's simply the game, simply to destroy the fighting spirit of Kravnik. And I think he achieved quite a lot in this direction. This is my private opinion. I can be, of course, very wrong. That's what the power scandal. But now the situation is getting, it's beginning to get worse and worse. Now somehow it's maybe getting slightly better. The problem is, can this match be prolonged with a score 3-2 or 3-1? In this sort of war, psychological war, I am on the side of Kravnik. But you know, I can tell you that the quality of the first two games was really bad. So if Vladimir could get some support from the toilet, this is not the best support. And this really makes the situation quite stupid. It's a very stupid scandal in my view. By the way, I would like to congratulate the local club. I'm very honored to be here. That the club has fantastic toilets. No, I'm not joking now. Recently, I was the director of the Children Olympiad in Siberia, Ural. And of course, my first move was to inspect the toilet. And I immediately protested. And the principal here, this competition, this is impossible. To play such a competition that was about 200 children, it is impossible to play in such bad conditions. I asked you sponsors, how is it possible? Because the cultural level looks like that, especially with the perestroika. Things that goes up, no, moves down. There was no compromise down there. So what we can see now, the scandal is in the process, and all the final solution probably will come tomorrow. Or after tomorrow. If I would be on the side of Volodya Kravnik, I'd like to say, Monsieur le Président, to the participants, please, adios muchachos. I don't like the situation. Not very pleasant. Of course, this is interesting to watch, to see the games, make some analysis, to see good quality play. But the quality is not really good one. I think that Topalov gave in my opinion, 4 points as a handicap in favor of Kravnik. You know that in the match, if you cannot win in position and you lose the position, you give up 2 points. In the tournament, 1 point, but in the match, because instead of +2, you get -2. You need 4. So the sport situation, which is possible to make, in favor of Russia. Maybe you remember the third game, fourth game, where we were quite fighting, but 2 draws, so now 3-1. Yeah, so that's what we have now. Unfortunately, Monsieur Luzhinov was absent during the scandal. That scandal just started. Maybe he needs some consultation from Monsieur Putin to make situation better. I don't know. No, but Putin, I think Putin's hobby is a jiu-jitsu, yeah, or he's a very brave man, so he did something special. Yeah, so that's what we have. Maybe this is good for chess in the United States, because each scandal advertise chess in your country. In France, yes, in France also. You know that in France once we had a fighting during the game between Quatley, Grandmaster Quatley, and another guy, I don't remember his name. Somehow he was killed later. It was a real fighting. Boom, boom. And, newspapers started to write about this. It made some sort of advertisement for chess. Yeah, very important. So that's what we have. By the way, once I visited Star, I was in Kalmykia. It was very interesting for me to be in the Kalmykian steppes. Where you have the burnt grass. Desert, yes, something like that. But the animals, you know, these people, following people, are interested in deserts. Yes, it was a really nice area. Later I visited Kazakhstan deserts. Kazakhstan steppes, also very nice. Very nice one. Interesting. Okay, so go ahead with your questions. Yes, please.
How can you describe when you were a child and decided you would study chess seriously and compare what it's like today for children that you see?
Oh, now, yes. Now I need my assistance. This is a very difficult question for me. When I was a schoolboy and I got a passion for chess, I visited Leningrad Palace of Pioneers. We had some good coaches there, because St. Petersburg always had a very good chess culture. But I must tell you that I never made something, I never had any handwritings. I was very bad pupil, must be honest. And even once, I think, when International Master Tournament, later he became a grandmaster, he was given some advices. So we schoolboys, he tied his leg to the chair. just for fun. But maybe this method of studying not so bad. That's not better. One thing I'd like to mention now, that the modern chess goes together with computer. And very important for children to know how to work with computer. Computer must be your servant, but not your master. If you are under the influence of computer, this is very bad. Really bad. And maybe we need special courses how to know children how to work. Very important. I had some experience working with computer because I was an underground correspondent player. But this is a top secret. Yes, I have my code, special code. Okay. Yes, I could reach very good level, low rating also. It was very interesting for me to work with the analytical model. Now I prepare to have Fritz 9. Yes, Fritz 9. By the way, yesterday your children were touching me here. Expertise exhibition, they made a fantastic progress for 1 year. I found it. Yeah, that's true. So I was suffering. I took my chair and started to play 2 serious games, like a tournament game. So this was what I like in the modern courses, that some teachers give to children tactical ideas, combinational ideas, because it's very important to develop the fantasy of a young boy or young girl. I have a special book of 2,500 positions which been used for the system of quantum systems. Tony, do you have this book? Yes. How many positions?
I think 2,500
Ah,
and weighs about
2,500.
3 kilos.
Do you think that this is useful? Or it depends?
It's useful for lots of income.
Yeah, that's a very nice answer. I would like to give you the participants of our here. But I think you are very kind. Maybe time to specify needs, no? Yeah, I'll come here if you like.
If you have some questions for me, I'll come, but I'm very modest.
Okay, maybe later I ask something, because I know you're a great specialist.
This reminds me of the time in Leningrad when I played York U, and I had a completely hopeless position,
Yes?
and in the Soviet chess yearbook it said, Sadie played a very modest move. Очень скромно ход.
Illegal.
I won the game by luck.
Yes, yes. By the scrolling code. A very modest move. So modesty is a great power. Maybe it will be interesting for you to know the basis of my scandal in the match against Victor Korchnoi. Yes? That would be interesting, yeah? You know that during the game, suddenly, I realized that I'm strongly disturbed from, or maybe from somebody, or maybe from someone. Of course, I didn't know what sort of disturbance, so I couldn't protest. You can protest if you know exactly what really happens. So my counter-action was that during my time, when my club was running, I started to use paravan. This is a special place on the podium where I was isolated. I could watch the demonstration on board. I worked out my move, and when I came up to the board, I executed my move on the board. And Victor strongly protested. He said that I'm a criminal because it's never happened before. This is a new psychological weapon. It was a terrible scandal. The FIDE president arrived much earlier. There were many discussions, many postponements of the next game, etc., etc. After that, even I wrote a special book which was called A Dramatic Match. And my wife helped me a lot. So, as I mentioned, my wife is here. He collected all press information, rights, all newspapers, Duga magazine and the local press, Politica, you know that the second game of the match was forfeited, so I got a point. I didn't need this point. To save the match, I had to do some concessions, yeah, some concessions. So I agreed to play third game in the special room. And when it was time to start the game, and the main referee, our referee Lothar Schmidt, said, "Gentlemen, it's time to play. Bobby, please." And Bobby said, "Yeah, but this camera is very noisy." But he said, "Bobby, it's time already." And Bobby answered, "Shut up." He said to the main referee. I think that was very good answer. No, but I made a very serious mistake after that, because normally I had to say, "No, I would like to play the game having such conditions, some disputes," and I agreed to play, and I lost this game. That was first game which Bobby won against me, and he immediately realized my weakness and got a lot of inspiration and won brilliant match. He played very well in this match. But at a certain moment, second half of the match, in 6 games, I had a very solid advantage, and I could not develop my advantage. So I was whispering, "Speak as Obama."
So my teeth.
Yes, I was whispering.
Grinding my teeth.
Yes, but just 2 scandals with Colonel Baturinsky less, and probably I could win 1 or 2 games out of this special game. No, I was helpless to develop my attack, to develop my advantage. By the way, I think that the modern matches, я так говорю, что они не выигрываются, а современные матчи проигрываются.
And modern matches are not being won, they're being lost.
Yes, it's much
They're
more.
not being won, they're being lost.
What does that mean?
I'd like to explain to you this case. I think once in the book A Dramatic Match against, I wrote a book about my match against Victor Konchnoy. I compared the strength of 2 grandmasters using 4 parameters. First, the plan after the opening. If you are better in the opening, you have better plan. Second, crucial point in the game. Crucial point creates when in the position you should find the conception, the best conception is based on your ability to calculate very fast variations and make good assessment of these variations, and you create the conception. You should find the best line out of several lines. Sometimes it happens during the game. By the way, it's something similar what we have in our life, that sometimes we have in our life crucial situation where we must find the best solution, the best decision, also based on many pieces. So this is the second point. First, plan after the opening, crucial point, and the third and fourth parameters also very important. This is the ability to develop an advantage. This is a special point which you must have a lot of energy. You must be persistent, character, and energy. And also the ability to resist in bad positions. Also very important to have it in our very short and stupid life. Also something critical, yeah. So if I would compare Travnik and Topalov, maybe Travnik has some advantage if we would compare them using these 4 parameters. Travnik is more drastic player, but Topalov is more inventive. And he is dangerous in special positions, complex positions, but he has initiative. But now in this match we don't see this. What we have at the moment, the quality of the games not very good. Quite miserable. Maybe it's gonna be even worse, I don't know. Yeah, we will see. The funny shot in English, what do you think of this first game of the match? Very strange games, right?
Well, in the second game, both sides overlooked a forced checkmate.
Yes.
So,
If you like, I can show you this.
Yes.
You like to see this?
sure.
Yes. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
So I think can be. So I think that the pawn was somewhere about G4, yeah? Who can help me? Maybe John? John, you remember? Could you give me this diagram from the second game? You know, this is for me, this is some sort of miracle. You can win just very simple. Check. Nice move. And nice. So I think we will enjoy now. We will enjoy life. Looking at some strange moments, yeah? Now, I think we will find this.
Can I ask a quick question about a different game?
Yes.
You played Larson in 1967. I think you played the Larson's opening in the Soviet Union versus the world. You beat him in 17 moves.
Yes.
You know the game with the rope sacrifice?
Yes.
Was this home preparation, or did you find this over the board?
No home preparation. I was very lazy to make home. I never had home preparation. You know, it was very interesting. You know, I was taught by Grandmaster Bondarevsky. He said, he gave me very good advice. If you have a winning position, a joint position, lay like Cama Blanca. He never analyzed winning positions. He used to come to win. So that was very good till the certain moment. But when you are preparing yourself to be the world champion, in this case you must have precise analysis of a joint game. This is really important. And Bondarevsky was my best computer. At that time he was like a computer. He was a mathematician and used to make fantastic analysis. He liked precise, long line analysis with forced variations. Sometimes I said, Igor was a Kazakh Don, by the way. I said, Igor Zakharovich, you don't need this huge long line because this is a winning position. But you know that winning position usually has different way to reach the goal. So I said, let's play normal moves and the fruit will hold out automatically. Yeah, this happens several times in my experience with Donskoy Kazan.
Another quick question here. In talking about energy levels, what kind of diet would you follow when you have an important game to play? What do you eat?
I can tell you that during my first match against Petrosyan in 1966, I was living in the same hotel where Grigory Pavlovich Petigorsky was living, you know, because he managed this first Petigorsky Cup second. And there was a line called buffet. It's some sort of cafeteria with a very bad quality of meal. And in front of this buffet cafeteria, there was a slogan or something like that. Donor лучший друг больного. Instead of to write bon appetit or something like that.
Donor is the best friend of a sick person.
Best friend of the. So you can translate my body. You know what I mean, yes? Donor лучший друг больного. So was not a big pleasure to have it built before the game using this beautiful stuff. So you know, later Grandmaster Smyslov and his wife, who is a very nice cook, she started to invite me to eat in their house before the game. So I used to eat so much. Oh, I got simply pregnant. So during the game, I started to sleep. No, it was true. And somewhere in the district of the 20th move, let me say, I woke up and my position was bad. At the end of the match, I gained, I think, 8 kilos. Maybe. Yes, 8 kilos. Now I also have a lot of material here. This is Eden Ponds. Nice, all wooden material inside of it. So, by the way, Petrosyan lost maybe something like 6 kilos after the match, 1966. So, as for my diet, it was not clever organized. Yes, but now probably the modern professional grandmasters, they need a very good diet. I don't know, this is a very professional and special question. Do you know anything, Tony, about diet? What we have to eat?
Yes, I studied this matter.
Yes.
One should not eat a very heavy meal, but one should eat a good meal, good game, and one needs some snack during a long game. Otherwise, you lose energy.
But do you know, for instance, that during the match Bronstein, Batvinnik used to have his additional portion for getting more energy. That was consisted of grapefruit, lemon, sugar in the bottle, in the special bottle. And during one game, Bronstein also brought a small bottle, but inside of the bottle was a 100% pure cognac. He left it for the spies of Batvinnik, let them investigate the essence of this bottle. I'm not sure that was a joke of David, no? But it was a typical joke of David. He liked this sort of, not tricks, but just liked to give this sort of information. And I remember also when I participated together with Batvinnik in Leiden, that was his last tournament, his benefits. And before the game, he used to invite me to his room, and he was giving me a small, he called it butterbrot with black caviar. He said, eat, you need it before the game. I said, thank you very much. I love black caviar, so I'm very grateful to you, Michael. I was quite friendly with him. Yes, I had some funny stories with him. It happened in 1970. 1970, summertime. The tournament was organized in Leiden. But before this tournament, it was maybe interesting for you to know that he was preparing himself to the match against Bobby Fischer. Because Leiden accepted the idea to organize the special match between Bobby Fischer and Batvinnik. And I spent about 2 weeks together with Batvinnik in Pitsunta. This is a special resort in southern part of Caucasus, of Russia. And I can tell you that about 7 o'clock in the morning, when I woke up, and I could see Batvinnik, who was preparing himself, making some analysis of Bobby's games. And he was breathing very heavily, something like that, you know, looking at the chessboard and making analysis of some of the games of Bobby, something like So he was suffering, you know, for several days in a row. And after that I asked him, Michael, what about your business? Are you successful in your preparations? He was not very satisfied with his preparation. But later, maybe 3-4 days later, he said, Boris Vasilievich, you know that young Bobby Fischer reminds me young Smyslov. So he was looking for another. You know, that he had to find somebody with whom he would like to compare the power of young Bobby Fischer. After that he asked me, please give me the characteristic of Bobby Fischer. I wrote for Botvinnik very fast and very short characteristic. The principal idea was that Bobby Fischer is улучшенный Botvinnik, improved Botvinnik. At the same time, but just seriously improved, like a computer, you know, sometimes one computer is better than another one because you can make a better program. This reminds me of another story when once I said to Michael, I said, Michael, by the way, that the most outstanding of the Soviet chess school is Bobby Fischer, is a typical, the best representative of the Soviet chess school, because he was studying very carefully all the achievements of so-called Soviet chess school, but he was not happy with mine. So, he was very political person, and that was not for him. I also said, Michael, by the way, if Alekhin would make every morning gymnastic, he also could be the best representative instead of alcohol. No, just make something. It was a very cultured chess man, by the way. So you know that this match, there was no chance to organize this match because something happened during the negotiations. Maybe Bobby asked a lot of money, or maybe he was not polite in his correspondence with the organizers from Leiden, but match was destroyed. Tony, maybe you don't know about this match, no?
My memory is not so good as yours, that's why I'm low rated.
No, it was not difficult because I was living together with Botvinnik. So it was I made very interesting observations about him. By the way, you know, I didn't know that Botvinnik didn't know не умел плавать.
He could not swim.
He could not swim. Because, you know, some of the Soviet books said that, oh, he's very sportive, made it rowing, powerful man, Soviet Superman. But in reality, it was not the same. So I said, once I asked him, Michael, do you want to learn how to swim? He looked at me suspiciously and answered. Simple answer. I said, yeah, please. I asked him, Michael, first of all, you must be ready to be in the water with your head. But he supposed that his body very well prepared for the land, but not for water. So he refused. It goes automatically. If you go with your head to into water, yeah. That's all. Yes, Soviet propaganda. Soviet propaganda is Soviet propaganda. Yes, I remember when Mr. Gorbachev received a very nice compliment when he visited Germany. Some German journalist said, Mr. Gorbachev, you are a great man, like you are King Gibbons. Goebbels was a very talented minister of propaganda during the time of Adolf Ivanovich Hitler. No, he didn't accept this as a compliment. Yeah. Soviet system, political system is also something. Не понял этого. Не оценил, да?
He didn't appreciate it.
No. So, Mr. Goebbels was not for him. That's why.
Yes,
Ah, yes, sure. So, yeah, that's. Yes.
D4, D5,
D4,
D5,
D5,
C4,
4,
C6,
6,
C3,
knight C3, knight F6,
knight F6, knight F3,
knight F3. Smysl stuff, yeah?
GC,
A4.
A4, bishop F5,
This opening Smyslov played, and even Petrosyan played how much?
E3,
E3, right?
E6,
E6,
bishop takes C4,
yes.
bishop B4,
Smyslov stuff. Okay, Kirovka.
knight BD7,
Knight B7.
here's the one,
Ah, bishop D6. E4.
E4,
Yes,
castle,
yes.
bishop E3,
Bishop D3, right.
bishop A5,
A5,
E5, knight D5, knight takes
Okay,
D5,
C
CD,
ED.
no, CD,
CD, yes.
CD, the queen is 3,
Queen E3.
Bishop.
This is theory, it's well known.
bishop G6,
Bishop G6.
knight G5,
G5.
rook E8,
E8.
F4,
F4.
bishop takes D3,
Tuki. Tuki.
queen F5,
F5.
bishop E3,
Bishop E3. So the plan of white, of course, to organize G4 and answer G4.
knight F8,
Knight F8. Petrosyan move.
king H1,
H1. Like Paul Morphy used to play rook G1 and G4.
rook C8,
Rook C8.
G4,
G4.
queen D7,
G7, I think if pawn takes pawn, probably A5, I don't know.
rook G1,
Oh yes,
bishop E7,
Bishop E7, trying to eliminate active guy. Petrosyan strategy.
knight F3,
Knight F3,
rook C4,
Rook C4, trying to organize some sort of pressure. Now the pawn
rook G2,
G2, Queen, no,
FG,
FG,
rook takes
Rook
G4,
takes,
rook
yes.
takes A4,
Rook takes A4, Rook A G1,
absolutely correct, G6,
G6,
H4,
H4. Now you can see that white had initiative and attack is very simple. White simply will attack. So what happened now?
rook B4,
Rook D4. Yes.
H5,
H5.
queen B5,
Queen B5.
queen C2,
Queen C2.
rook takes B2,
Oh yes.
here you play H,
Yeah, this is a beautiful way. So if black rook takes the green, chuki. And what happens after chuki? Can we mate after rook G3 or what? H6.
Yes. F5
F5, king H5,
and rook 7 G3.
rook 7, G3. King is
Knight
in
G6,
trouble.
rook takes G6.
because this is a threat, rook H3. So, mate, yeah, almost. This is mate or not yet?
Yeah. F6 mates.
No. So, you cannot take C4, right? So we can see that attack is very strong. And so Kramnik was in trouble at this moment. Just a moment. Pawn on G6, what was the position? Aha, so this is like that, yeah? The pawn is here, yes, pawn on H7, yes. Queen on C2. There is our yeah, so you can take
On
so
F4.
It's fine.
pawn on H5, yeah? You mean white pawn on F4, yes. Thank you.
No,
Yes.
that's fine.
So this is the position. So he played H5.
Rook is on G4.
Rook on G4, thank you. Yes, so H5, yeah? And after H5, what
He
happened?
played G7
He played G7.
and took the rook.
Yes, took the rook. Yes, pawn on G, thank you.
He took with a queen.
Yes, yes.
He took with a bishop.
Tricky. So that's what happened. Look it. Some sort of miracle what happened here. I cannot understand. So he could win. Rook takes pawn, check. And what to do? You cannot move your king F7, simply queen H7. H7 and mate. If you go to the king with rook H8, rook H4, and after that, it's over. So in the game, what happened in the
He
game?
played queen G6 check.
Yes, he played queen G6 instead of.
No, no.
No, I mean in this position after rook takes
Bishop
G4.
took on F8. Bishop took on. He played queen G6 check.
He didn't go to
No, this is no. I mean that in the position like that after rook takes G4.
He didn't take the pawn.
He didn't take, yes, but it means yes because after bishop G7, queen C7 simply plays. Because if you check me here, king G, knight G1. If you play queen F1, knight G1, and the game is over.
It's a short time. We have 35 minutes on the clock.
So look at the position. Tony, can you see this game? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
When one overlooks a forced mate, I mean, how can one sleep at night? How can one continue to play? How can one continue life?
Well, what if Kramnik had taken the king instead of the bishop? Then what would have Topner have done? If he had taken on F8 with his king instead of his bishop, was White still winning in that position? Can you remember that?
Why do you mean the position like that? Yes. So I'm here, the queen on G5, yes?
Right, and the knight is on F3, please. And the white knight is on F3.
Yes,
And the
knight
rook
on
is
F3.
on G1. The white rook is on G1.
Yes, rook on G1.
Rook is on
Yes.
G1, and there's a pawn, a black pawn on G4.
Yes, so if you go to
Black pawn is on G4.
yes, black pawn on G4, yes.
And now it's White's move. Does White win this position too?
Yeah, just like that.
No, the king is on G8 in this move.
No, he took after.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. He didn't take this one.
Yeah, if he had taken with the king, is White still winning this? If so.
So if I play something like, I don't know what about F5 here. There's many possibilities. No, no, it's like, if goes to G6. You simply play G6. Or Queen H7. G6 also. Very strong, yeah? Don't know how to survive here.
Not maybe moving the black bishop out of the way so that you can maybe escape eventually to E7 or something?
Maybe Queen E2 and after Queen takes G4, Bishop G5, yeah? Bishop to G5. Or this is F5 immediately. No, I mean that Queen E2, yeah? First Queen E2. Of candidate tournament in Kurosawa would be changed a little bit. I'd like to remind you that from the Soviet Union, Nishatar played, Geller, he was very good at that time, Petrosyan, Paul Keres. Instead of one of them, I could be, because...
And Korchnoi.
And Victor Korchnoi as well, yes. From the Western world was Paul Benko, Philip, who else? Just
Fisher.
And Bobby, of course, yes. Bobby was very good at that time.